I don't even remember what it was like to open my GameCube new as a kid. It's been that long. I was born in 1995, and, from as little as I can remember I was playing games. I was doing things on the computer, mostly. I played Roller Coaster Tycoon since probably, oh God, when it came out. I must have been, 5 years old. About 2000 maybe. And I was already logging into the family computer, just running downstairs and just putting in the password, signing in, put the disc in, let's go. And I didn't know, what to do when I was out of money. And I clicked eventually, found a little plus button, and turns out that was the loan, give me, a higher loan button. I didn't know what that meant. I just thought it meant more money. The joys of youth, not understanding, right? So, past that, I eventually ended up with a GameCube. And also, I don't remember my Game Boy Advance either, unfortunately. I really don't remember much from that time period. It was one of those atomic purple clear ones. And I had like Super Mario 2? Yeah, Super Mario 2 Advance, I think was the first game I had on it. For the GameCube, I think I had Pokemon Coliseum. I don't remember what else. I know Mario Kart Double Dash eventually got added. And I had Did Godzilla Destroy All Monsters. I actually never owned Smash Bros. That's the funny thing. Your neighbors as a kid would come over, they'd bring their games. Your friends down the street, they'd bring their games. We had a pool at my house. So my friends would come over, we'd play some games, we'd jump in the pool, we'd come back in. Still a little soggy from, being in the pool. We're sitting on our towels in the living room, we're playing the games. And that was it. That's as complicated as life was. Now we fast forward a bit. I don't remember opening it, but I do remember I had a, very, early on Nintendo DS. I was fortunate enough to have that opportunity, and it had Metroid Prime Hunter's First Hunt, the little demo cartridge. I didn't have any other games it was a little bit. It definitely was my only game for probably a while. I'm trying to think how long it would have been. I still had, GBA games. But for DS, that's all I had. And I was psyched because at that time, I knew what Metroid was. And about that 2002 to 2005 time, maybe let's extend it, 2002 to 2006, I was at one point in Canada, and oh God, burp felt terrible. I ate some pancakes and they're not settling too well. I was in Canada for a while, and there was this store called the Future Shop. It's kind of like a Best Buy, but Canadian, I don't know. And I walked out, and on this little rack or bin in the middle of this mall area, there was a giant advert. To me, I was a kid, so it was still pretty big, of Metroid Fusion, like a giant poster. And it had, I think, some slogan or something on it. And it was the coolest thing. I remember seeing that. The blue and yellow suit, that pose with, it was I guess this, the arm cannon's pointing down, and Samus is I'm thinking about it now. It's just literally forever ago. I could probably find it on Google. But during that time, my taste in games started to explode. I learned more about, what I was into. I had all these cool things, Metroid. And I never caught on to Zelda, unfortunately. Legend of Zelda, I tried it a few times. I tried different games. I tried Ocarina of Time. I tried Wind Waker. I actually got stuck on Wind Waker. That was funny. I gave up because I kept getting thrown back in the dungeon in one of those early levels because it wasn't my kind of game. And Majora's Mask, obviously I had no idea what I was doing. I keep saying because I'm trying to remember. This is so long ago. And right. So I'm a major Nintendo guy for a while. I was playing my DS, I was playing GameCube. For a little while I even had a Sega Dreamcast. That was, I think, given to me at some point. I ended up selling it to my next door neighbor, but I don't remember anything really about it besides I played Soul Calibur and Sega Mega Collection, the one that had like 30 games or something. And it was just like the menu was just like a giant square around the border of the screen with games. That was cool. Okay. So now we enter like a phase 2. We're entering my teen years. And I'd say I was probably about 12 because it was about 2006, 2007. I think maybe I was 13. Yeah. Halo 3 was the next big game to be released. I knew nothing about Halo. Nothing. I was not an Xbox guy. I only had experience with Nintendo. So when I was eating dinner with my family at a family restaurant, this restaurant is now closed. They had those TVs, the little CRTs, hanging off the wall. They were only like 12-inch. They were up there. And I was eating some burger and fries, and I was looking up at it. I think I still remember where I was sitting, yeah. And I managed to catch the tail end of the Believe trailer, which was, I think I just looked up and saw like a couple of the action figures, and then I saw Chief's head, look up, and it was like, Believe at the screen. And I was like, I didn't think anything of it. And all these years later, I've come to really realize what I was seeing. That's absolutely mind-blowing because, yet again, it's just so long ago. It'll be 20 years in 2 years. Just doesn't feel like it. And after that, I moved into Xbox. I started being interested around age 13, 14, I think. I had some friends that had Xboxes. All of my main friend group was Nintendo. But some other people I conversed with, sorry, that's my Logitech shifter. The other kids I conversed with at the time, they had Xbox 360s. And I eventually pooled my money and I was like, hey Grandpa, can we go half and half on this? Because he was a major tech guy. He was the kind of guy that he wanted a Blu-ray player. He bought a PS3 to play Blu-rays. It also played games, but if you remember at the time, the PlayStation 3 was quite a bargain, much like the PlayStation 2, because it played those very expensive discs at the time. And they just happened to play games too. But they weren't, it was actually a good deal to get these consoles over the player itself sometimes. So it's like, why not? I didn't really do much with the PS3. Unfortunately, that kind of just went completely under my radar. I fiddled with it a bit over the years, but it never was really my console. But with the 360, I was like, I want this 360 Elite. And we came to some agreement, and, half my money, half his money. And it was like a birthday gift for me. And an Xbox Live card, so I could talk with my friends. And I'm struggling to remember what I started out with for a game. It came with like Project Gotham Racing 4 or something. God, I'm trying to remember. It's so long ago. Well, whatever. I got Halo 3 very fast after that. I think I was 14 at this time. Because, yeah, it was like 2008 then. Wait, 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know when I got Halo 3. It was somewhere between there because I also was there before ODST. So Dude, I think I pre-ordered ODST, or I just walked into GameStop like on the release date and I just picked it up before going to a Boy Scouts meeting. You know, it was different times, dude. And that much I do remember. All of the massive parties, and I would host usually at my house. There was a big, we had a 52-inch LCD TV. You know, my family was very technology savvy. They liked to have everything, you know, brand new. They loved the next big thing. Not without proper research, though. It wasn't all impulse buys. So my friends would come over. We'd have sleepovers, massive sleepovers at my house. 4-player split screen Halo. And Call of Duty World at War when I got that as well later on. Modern Warfare 2, everything. We also played, you know, Wii. We played everything on this massive TV. You know, I think that was a big deal on how we grew up as kids. Like, I had this big thing that everyone was like, whoa. And it just blew our minds. And then you learn what input lag is. That I was the first one to really care and notice about it. And yeah, I got picky real quick, unfortunately. So much so that I actually like just ended up going back to the CRT that was sitting right next to it, because you didn't usually move those things. They were like 150 pounds. So I just, you know, moved the cables over. I'm like, all right, back to the CRT. Why does this feel better? I didn't know, but it was because of that. Good times. Many sleepovers, many a party was played on that living room TV, that big 52-inch with the 360. Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, Halo Reach, Modern Warfare 2, World at War, Black Ops occasionally, all the zombies you can imagine. It was a different time, dude. It was a better time. And like all things happen, things progress again, and I eventually moved to PC, and I stayed there. You didn't have to pay for an Xbox Live account, and you could just, you know, have your games on the computer, boot it up when you got home from school, use it not only as a computer, but you could play games. It was great. And then I started playing League of Legends before I graduated high school. My friend kept trying to get me into it. I'd still be playing it more if my connection to it wasn't so iffy, but some might say that's a good thing, you know, because the game does suck the life out of a lot of people that play it. I'm trying to remember if I'm forgetting anything. These are crazy, crazy memories for me. I have so many more too. It's already been over 20 years since I got a GameCube. In a couple of years, 2 years, it's going to be about 20 years since I got a Wii. Time waits for no one. I don't feel a day over 19, and yet the world disagrees. Anyways, I think that's all for now. Yeah, that was my gaming history and how I remember things. I just had this thought, and I had this crisis in my head of just, wow, that was forever ago. Crazy, right?